Alright, y'all ready? Everybody ready?
Don't be nervous, we'll be alright.
This is gonna be hilarious.
This is gonna be fun.
Hold on, I'm gonna let 21 talk to y'all real quick.
Live by the code, die by the code. Never been a hoe, bury me before I sell my soul. Live by the code, die by the code. Never been a hoe, bury me before I sell my soul. AK with the stars, 30 on the Glock. Kill a lot of ops.
Shut up.
AK with the stars.
You let 21 talk to y'all real quick.
Kill a lot of ops. Ride on the cops. That's around Atlanta, savage, known to let it bang bang. Gang gang.
We back.
In the chain, lieutenant like I'm Dame Wayne. Bring the major pain pain. Candle light sauce, 5 fish, fried gang gang. All I know is A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh, y'all don't like this shit, huh? So don't nobody like this shit. Oh, okay. Alright. Third dollar there. Alright, y'all. We back.
Back at it again.
This is the Insensitive Podcast, everybody. This is a special one today, y'all. Everybody that's here, I really appreciate every single person being here, man. Like, for real, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate all y'all coming, man. Because y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Everybody's here. Everybody. Because some of y'all went to work today. You went to work. This nigga went to work. She went to work. You went to work?
Yes, sir.
You went to work?
Did I?
You went to work? Nah, you was not work today. But yeah, man, this is the Insensitive Podcast. This is episode 23. This is our Jordan episode. Whichever 23 is your favorite. LeBron, Jordan. I know this man over here gonna go for LeBron. This is some special shit today, y'all. This
You want
is
to stay or you want to go home?
I've literally never done no shit like this before. Of course, we do the podcast, me and Brandon right here. And I should introduce myself. I'm P. That's Brandon. That's Chris over there. This is my baby right here. She's on the mic today. This is our friend Roy. This is our friend Gloria. This is my boy Derek. This is Simone, right? Yeah. I didn't want to forget. That's Brian's friend. I don't want to offend one of y'all. Okay, that's your friend. We got our boy Donald over there. Irvine is here. My boy Ryan is here. Everybody's here. Like I said, I appreciate y'all being here. I don't even know if this shit gonna work, but fuck it, we here now. We don't know how this shit gonna go, but we here. We gonna keep this shit rocking, y'all. Like I said, this is our Jordan episode. We got the new camera, y'all. If y'all see us over there now, got the new camera rocking. Got another mic. Everything's a go, man. So we rocking today. This nigga Brandon. So we got a lot of shit we gonna talk about today, y'all. We're going to do the guest tradition in a minute. This podcast may be a little different from anybody that's been listening. Everybody that's been listening to us 23 episodes through, man, we really appreciate y'all, man. Anybody that you know that loves podcasts, make sure you direct them our way. What else I got here? I'll put everybody's socials in the description box. Everybody that wants their Instagram and shit in the description box on YouTube and Twitter, I'll put all that in the YouTube description box and the SoundCloud description box. What else we got here? How was everybody's Thanksgiving? First of all, let's start with that. Everybody's Thanksgiving was straight? Oh, that's it? So everybody was straight though. That's what's up. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I think I said that last week, but again, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable holiday. Like I said, this podcast is going to be a little different. We're not going to do sports today. Let me do a rundown real quick. We're going to start with music. After music, we're going to get into what's trending. We'll do the Shoutout and Fuck You segment. If anybody has anything, I got a couple shout-outs. After that, we got some relationship stuff that we'll talk about. After that, we're going to get into the Q&A segment. And then we got the Let's Talk segment. And then we will close out after that, y'all. So everybody ready, y'all?
Tradition time.
Yes, tradition, y'all.
Tradition time.
We're gonna take a shot. Like I said, I appreciate everybody being here, y'all.
Oh, damn. Chris don't got no shot, bro.
Everybody, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. We got some people in the back that the camera can't see, but toast up.
Let's do it.
Oh, I smell it.
All right. So y'all ready? Let's get into it, y'all. So the first thing here, we got the music segment. We're going to get into this first. First thing we're going to talk about real quick, we got a couple of new music that dropped, I think on Friday. We spoke about The Weeknd last week, Brandon's King. The Weeknd, he dropped 2 new songs. I said I wasn't going to say that, but I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Fucking do it. Yeah, we finally taking a break from Mac Ears. This guy over dick riding Mac Ears and shit for the past couple weeks.
So The Weeknd, he dropped 2 new songs. What's the name of the songs, nigga? Let me get it. I got it here. Blinding Lights and Heartless. I did not like Blinding Lights at all. Anybody else here? I don't know. I wanted this.
I did hear it.
What you thought about it, Brian?
It was okay. I know it's gonna be played in a lot of places.
Yeah, I didn't
like.
like.
I mean, it wasn't for niggas, you know.
Yeah, I didn't like Blinding Lights at all. I liked the Heartless one. I didn't like Blinding Lights at all.
Right, Heartless is.
I didn't like.
He's a fan. So
I didn't like Heartless like that at first. I didn't really. It's still so for me. But Blinding Lights was nice.
Of course.
I like.
Yeah, he said
That's your
shit.
king, man. Of course you're gonna.
Yeah, I fucking hate y'all.
Nah, that shit was just weird, bro. Nah, I already turned it up. Sorry. So yeah, The Weeknd dropped 2 new songs. His album is coming soon. We don't have a date on his album yet, but when it comes out, we gonna definitely talk about it because Brandon here. So
Shut up.
The Weeknd drops. We will talk about The Weeknd's album when he finally drops. Who else dropped music? The Game. He put out his album Born to Rap. That song that I was just playing with 21 Savage. That was 21 Savage feature on that album. It's called Born to Rap. It's the rap cover where he got all the pregnant girls in the studio. I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like 10 pregnant girls in the studio on his Born to Rap album. So
Did he put a disclaimer out there on it?
yeah, he was trying to say that everybody wasn't drinking. Yeah. You said what?
I was asking Glow, did she see the cover yet?
Oh yeah. Well,
That was
yeah,
real. I thought that was fake.
Nah.
that's his real album cover. But the album was really good. That shit was like
Was it a
really
lot of
really
promotion
good.
on
And
it, or just like?
Said what?
Just threw it out there. Was it a lot of promotion behind it, or?
I don't think it was.
I didn't
bro.
see
I don't
much.
feel like I even really.
I didn't hear much about it. I don't think it was a lot of promotion.
Yeah,
with
and
it.
he did say this was his last album.
Supposedly.
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 I want to say the Nipsey Hussle song and the 21 Savage song that I was playing. Those are the 2 standouts. He did say this was his last album. She's Gloria's looking at the picture.
I thought it was like.
I really look like a birthing class.
I thought it was Photoshop picture.
Right. Yo, everybody ain't seen it?
No.
Oh, I saw it. It doesn't look like a maternity class in there.
But in all seriousness, this is one of the best albums that came out this year as far as rap wise. Let me see. It has 25 songs. We spoke about it last week. It's an hour and a half. It's a little slow getting into the album. He got Ed Sheeran on the first song and the last song. It's a little slow getting in. But once you get to about yeah, he's on the first song and the last song.
Niggas really like Ed Sheeran.
Well, y'all don't like Ed Sheeran? What's wrong with Ed Sheeran?
I mean, I would say there's nothing wrong with Ed Sheeran.
Oh.
This has never really been my cup of tea, like, you know.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird feature that he put on there, the Ed Sheeran feature. He has a lot of features. A lot of his albums like have a lot of features, like every single one of his albums. But like I said, the Nipsey Hussle song, number 12, Welcome Home, that was a standout. The Code with 21 Savage, that was a standout. He has a lot of good songs on here. Like I said, this is one of the best albums that came out in rap to me, honestly. We talked about the
never been bad at really making music.
The Game, right? Yeah, we said that last week too.
It's
When you
just
on
his
here.
antics. Like that's
Yeah.
usually kind of like, all right,
Exactly.
bro, chill out.
Clout chasing and shit.
Because there was a lot of promotion he was putting out like weeks ago when he was talking about Kim K, like smashing Kim K and all that. Yeah. But he didn't put that. I didn't hear none of that on the album. So
That'd be his promotion, Twitter shenanigans.
yeah, I didn't hear any of that on the album. So I guess he did do a lot of like name dropping. Like he name dropped a lot of people. Some negative ways, some positive way. He name dropped Cole, Drake, Kendrick. He said a lot of people's names in the game.
In
Like
the
everybody.
album?
Yeah.
What did he say about Cole?
Like he was just giving him props. Kendrick.
Yeah, that's your king.
Yeah, Cole, that's my nigga. That's my nigga. I don't give a fuck.
Why you? But why you say that's your nigga? You should have just said what you said. That's your king.
That's my king.
Oh no!
I don't give a fuck, nigga. I'll say it, nigga. I don't give a fuck.
Man,
Shit, he looks just like him.
this is daddy.
Love child and shit.
This shit is good.
J. Cole, love child.
So yeah, Born to Rap is out now. The Game, check it out. He said this is the last album. We'll see what happens going forward. What I got next here. So speaking of Nipsey Hussle, which I did before, Wack 100, Blueface's manager, he has something to say about Nipsey Hussle. He said, I'll just play it out loud real quick. Make sure it's loud enough. He had this to say about Nipsey Hussle, and we'll talk about it after it plays.
Blueface right now.
For what?
For saying, for you going on and saying that Nipsey wasn't a legend.
He wasn't. What's a legend?
A legend.
Define a legend.
Someone that passed away. That
No.
I'll start.
No. Okay, listen. So let's keep it real. If Dr. Dre right now died,
Okay.
we would say we lost a legend, right?
Yes.
Wait. Based upon what? Numbers, right?
Yes.
Body of work, right?
Yes.
How many albums did Nipsey drop? One album, right? This is not no personal shit I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is just real shit. The man died with 1 million followers, no radio hits, no platinum hits, right? No world tours, right? After he died, he went platinum, sold a bunch of records, followers went up 10,000, right? 19 million, right?
Blueface right now.
So Wack 100, this is Blueface's manager. He said that Nipsey Hussle's not a legend. Dude,
Tap dancing.
say tap dancing.
I mean,
Do we? Who feels like Nipsey's a legend?
Definitely. You know what I'm saying? And then White Boy was just being a
little bitch. She just bitched him all like.
Right.
He just don't agree with everything.
So we all agree Nipsey's a legend.
I gotta say that.
I don't think it's all about numbers though. Like,
he's a hood legend.
He's not like Dr. Dre
but
level.
what did he do for his community? What work did he put into his people?
Well, don't get me wrong. He did put in work into the community more than a lot of.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not gonna say that he's me personally. I'm not gonna say he. Considering everybody else, he's considered a legend.
What Wack said was he didn't have a platinum album. He didn't have a.
It's not for that reason. It's not for that reason. It's not because of that. No.
I mean,
he's
legendary.
He's definitely.
But you said he's not.
Yeah,
I feel like
absolutely relevant, and he's absolutely legendary. I get what he's saying, but first of all, he didn't have just one album. Nipsey got like 5 albums.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. He's a hood legend because you only real fans know he got 5 albums. Mm-hmm. He's not mainstream. He was never mainstream. He didn't make radio music.
Right. Yeah.
So he may not be a legend on the radio, but he is truly a legend. You know, but that's
I think it's his impact. I think it's his impact.
Anybody who listens to like Nipsey one time, you're like, oh shit, I fuck with Nipsey. And then you really find out what he's about, and you're like, wow, this is so different from the book I'm judging. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just different.
And he was beyond music, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like
exactly that's my point.
Exactly. He's the only person who could really still be in the streets and be in the kind of lane that he was and making music, but still get back to your community enough where you still doing business in the area. He doing business, and there's plenty of club kids walking around, you know, but he's still giving back, and he still was trying to hold it down for his people.
Yeah, he did do a lot of shit. I didn't even know half the shit he did.
Until he passed away.
Which is fucked up.
But you know, that's what real people do. They don't have to speak on what they do. They just do it for their people. They don't do it for show. Like a whole bunch of people who have like these platinum albums and all of these followers and have accomplished all this stuff. They do everything for show on the camera. He didn't do that.
Exactly. I feel that. That's so who said Nipsey was a legend? Brandon,
I feel like no.
You said
I mean, I think it's the kind of thing like he's a legend, but it's like when Homeboy brings up Dr. Dre, he's not a legend to that extent. So there are levels. There's levels to being a legend. He's not the highest level, but he made his mark, and he'll always be talked about, remembered. So yeah, he's a legend.
But they're not criteria to be a legend.
They're not one and the same, exactly.
For him to say
like everybody's not the same.
For Wack to be like, what he say? This ain't no personal shit. It is to me.
No,
what he said it is.
Wack is already.
He didn't have to say that. I feel like the only reason he said that is because it's some personal shit.
Wack is already known for stuff like this, though.
Yeah, he's got.
He's been doing this.
He was like his own artist is legendary. If you're talking about them standards, if you're talking about all
he knocked out one dude.
Right.
And that's a kind of an unfair debate for any artist that's died in any genre. People are always like, oh, they're only so big because they died.
You're gonna have somebody who
can say that about everybody that's a musician that sells a lot after they die.
You say he's the male version of Azalea Banks?
Right now, yeah.
Damn.
That's actually so the consensus around the room is most people say that he is a legend. Lil Duval tweeted, he said, a legend is someone that makes an impact on a lot of people, which is true. Because Lil Duval only said that because of what Wack said. So I agree. I think that he is a legend.
Lil Duval.
All right, what we got next?
And the marathon continues.
Yeah, the marathon continues. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. We definitely got to say that. I appreciate that.
Forever,
what we got next? All right, so I don't know if everybody's up to game on the whole Omarion and Lil Fizz and April Jones situation, but so who is?
My sister told me some shit about that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Did you know what's going on?
She said something about somebody wanting somebody's baby.
This is like some real.
I know this nigga.
Some guy code type of conversation. Like it's
all right.
You know who they are, right?
Okay, so Omarion, and this is old news, but I didn't want to talk about it on the last couple podcasts, but I want to talk about it here because we're gonna talk about like the whole situation with everybody here. So Omarion and Lil Fizz were in the group B2K years ago.
Yeah, bro. No more shots for you, dog.
That's funny
about me.
Slipping, dog.
So he was in B2K. He has 2 children with April Jones. I got all the stuff here because I don't know the extent of their whole relationship. So he blah blah blah. He was on Love and Hip Hop with April Jones.
Oh yeah, I think
he was on Love and Hip Hop with her. They have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. After 4 months after one of their kids' birth, they announced a separation on social media. Blah blah blah. So Lil Fizz is in B2K with Omarion, like I said. Lil Fizz is now dating Omarion's baby mama that he has 2 kids with. Like they're like together. Like they posting pictures like kissing and shit. And this is his man's. Like these 2 came up like we know.
Yeah, like they were really close.
Yeah, they was close as fuck. And this was like this is his man's. So April Jones posted this on Instagram a couple weeks ago. She said, "First, let me." This is on Lil Fizz's birthday. He said, first, let me say happy born day to one of my favorite human beings on this planet. I'm blessed to have you in my life. There are a few genuine and real people who they say they are. My bad. You're a straight shooter, and that's what I adore about you. Always sticking to your words with actions. You deserve everything and more in this lifetime. I got you always, no matter what, my G. Love you much. Now time to turn up. And this is her baby father's mans. This is her baby father's like dude, old folk style. Omarion was quiet about this whole situation for a long time, but he did an interview with I think it was Vlad TV where somebody finally asked him about it, and he was just like, if they happy, I'm happy. So B2K is doing this whole Millennium tour that everybody's been waiting on for a long time. Omarion announced the tour on Lil Fizz's birthday. On his birthday, the same day that April Jones put this out on Instagram, he announced the tour on his birthday, and nobody in B2K is on it besides him. Him, Bow Wow, Yin Yang Twins, Lloyd, Sammy, Pretty Ricky, Soulja Boy. He just said we're excited to announce the Millennium Tour 2020. Blah blah blah. Before I go any further, does anybody in here not see anything wrong with April Jones and Lil Fizz being together?
No, that shit's fucked up.
Come on, somebody start.
The men in the room do.
Somebody start.
The women in the room understand.
You said the women understand?
We got a debate. Nah.
Yes, absolutely. At least I do, because there's some shadiness to an extent. But I mean, what if you don't know if he talked to him beforehand and was like, yo, I developed, feelings, you guys haven't been together for XYZ amount of time. You don't know the background about it.
As friends, we always
and he could have been transparent.
We don't know Omarion and Fizz's best friends. We don't even know if they really were close like that when.
Okay, but with him announcing the tour on his birthday,
looking at the situation subjectively.
We still making our moves in the background.
Y'all acting like you're not petty, but
why is Yin Yang Twins on that shit?
That's what I want to hear. Yin Yang Twins. I mean, come on.
That's funny. But I just want to see if anybody here did not see a problem with this.
I don't see a problem.
Okay, why you don't see a problem with it, Don? Donald says he don't see it. Why don't you see a problem with this?
I mean, they're not together. So they're not together.
But this is his man. Okay, you know what? That's like you dated somebody. You have 2 kids with somebody. Y'all break up, and then Jeffrey ends up with your girl, with your ex-baby mom. How would you feel about that?
You gonna feel some type of way.
If you're not together no more, then
okay, hold up.
Or do you feel like you can trust them more because you know that person?
Fuck that.
Right?
They don't.
Guys,
you're not gonna look at it like that.
Would you be mad?
If you cut ties with somebody, you're not in a relationship no more, why should you be salty? If even your best friend is with them, like
first of all,
there's
feelings never go away, bro.
But some people do, some people doesn't.
What?
They don't.
So that shit really don't go.
So wait a minute. So what happened with that situation? Y'all been together for a minute. She left you, went to who you say she was going to? Jeffrey.
Yeah, to Jeffrey.
So she went to Jeffrey or whatever. Y'all they doing their thing, and then
they're posting on social media, kissing.
It's
about everything.
It depends who the person is. If you can move on, you can move on. If not, then of course you're still gonna be bitter about it.
So what's gonna happen on that day when she bring the kids over? And she just bring the kids over. And then y'all get to talking and everything.
Oh Lord, you're digging too deep into it because that's not even gonna happen because they already know like boundaries.
Nah.
So you know where you can step. But Omarion's the bigger person at the end of the day because he was cool about it. He don't got no resentment.
I just want y'all to keep in mind we gotta take turns. We gotta take turns talking. So everybody go. Chris.
I just think it's shady. Like it's one thing if it was like a girl you dated for a little while, but yeah, kids with him. Like that means so if he's your man, he been around probably when your kid was born, so they know you as uncle, and now you stepdaddy. Like that's weird, man. Like of all the women in the world, and plus you in a famous band, all the women in the world, you don't pick your boy's baby mama. That's shady as
he was planting that seed while they were together.
Exactly. So he's shady anyway. That's shady.
So Gloria.
No, she said.
Oh, she said.
Yeah, I already said a lot.
But I was not gonna say. But from what it looks like, I don't think that Omarion is cool with the situation because Lil Fizz is not the only one in B2K. He left all the rest of B2K up the tour. Nobody else. Yeah, and they felt some type of way, and it's probably because of Lil Fizz situation. So I don't think Omarion's cool with this at all. I don't think this is a conversation that they had. I mean, I'm pretty sure they talked about it, but I don't think this is a conversation they had where Omarion was like, bro, do what you gotta do. He just hasn't said shit, and then when finally somebody asked him, he just said, I'm happy for him. Long they're happy, they're happy. I don't think. You said what? Killing them kind of? Yeah, he could
I
be.
think that he's just like, just showing out who's the main one of B2K, really doing that. Because if it's a one-on-one with Fizz, he could have just said, hey, you off the tour, or he could have handled it behind the scenes, but he cut everybody off. So he's kind of like just putting his foot down, like, yo, y'all ain't shit. I'm really B2K. They're really gonna come out just to see me. So that's like a little cocky, at the same time a little petty. Because if you went on the radio and said, hey, I'm happy for them if they're happy,
right.
we're gonna let it go, then that's it. You said your piece, you move on. But you're gonna turn around and be, petty like that.
And then do it on his birthday
party.
too.
On his birthday, come on. That's a direct message.
But he's
so I guess
he's with his baby mama, bro.
So I guess the general.
Would you not expect that for somebody that's with your baby mama?
Yeah.
So you don't give him a pass for that? He's with his baby mama, bro.
It's not right if that's your man. Like, I'm not saying what Fizz did was right, but
it's not fair to punish the rest of the band. But think about it, they can't have everybody else if they don't have the whole band. There is no B2K, so he might as well go on tour with some people who he can actually sell the tickets with.
Maybe they knew about it and didn't say
exactly. They probably don't want to even be a part of the situation.
They all close.
Like,
Fizz might be the winner in this one.
You
got April Jones.
I'm saying once that's your man's baby mama, she shouldn't even look attracted to you no more, bro.
Yeah.
And
she really your sister.
Apparently, Omarion. I think Omarion, he owns like all the rights to like their touring and all that, so he was able to do this.
He can talk his shit. Like,
so he was able to do this.
Y'all niggas run your mouth while I run my business and show you who's really boss.
Yeah. All right. So we gonna move on from next. We got a lot of other shit to talk about. What we got here? The next thing here for music. This was some controversy on the internet, and we'll discuss it all between one another. Jordin Sparks, the singer, her husband posted a photograph on Instagram, and we're gonna. The question is, before I even say what happened, what are the limits of your significant other? Their significant other's relationship with their friend of the opposite sex. What are the limits that you would say that your significant other has of having a friend of the opposite sex? So Jordin Sparks, her husband, posted a picture. Here's the picture here. This isn't Jordin Sparks, but this is his friend. She has her arm around Jordin Sparks' husband, and he actually posted this on his Instagram. He said, not very many people can, 1, get me out the house past 10:30, get me to smile this big 2. 3, have me talking about high school. Shout out to a real one. And there was a lot of controversy on the internet with Jordin Sparks. Jordin Sparks said she's happy for their relationship. She has no objections about anything that's being said between them. So, like I said, the conversation we're going to talk about here, what is the limits? Are you guys okay with this? Would you be okay with this? You two are married. You two are the only two married people.
I'm completely okay with it.
Okay. So what are the limits of having a friend of the opposite sex? What are the limits?
The limits are based on security. Like, if you're an insecure person or your spouse is an insecure person, then there's going to be a lot of boundaries that you got to set because they're going to feel some type of way, anything you do. But when you're a secure person about yourself and your relationship, it doesn't matter to you. Because, at the end of the day, that person got you.
Right, that's true.
I disagree because you might be right. You might say, yeah, that person got you. But I ain't finna let my wife go out with no man after 10:30. You ain't finna let him go out the house with no female after 10:30. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
we don't set limits for each other.
You can do that at daytime.
But I'm not his mother.
I'm
his wife.
But you going to sleep with him at the end of the night every night, right?
He went to the strip club without me.
That's different.
That's definitely no limit.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Like
It's kind of like,
totally different.
it's like a level of intimacy that you have with another person. When you have a significant other, it's like, why do you feel like you can share this part of yourself with them and you can't share it with me? But like, why are you leaving the house and going out and getting lit with somebody who's not me? And
Were they
I'm
by
supposed to be a
themselves?
partner. Yeah.
Say what?
Were they by themselves? Like they just went out, just him and her?
Well, it looks like somebody else took this picture of them together.
That's what I'm saying. Is it in a group setting or a one-on-one setting?
Like they hugged up.
Because he tried to make it seem like it was a date.
This nigga sent the picture to her first. Was like, hey, I'm gonna post this shit.
Exactly.
My thing
is it okay?
Hold on. Go ahead, bro.
Coach Pete, you said something about.
Hey, yo. All right, chill. Hold up.
You said something about bringing up high school memories.
Yeah.
So they've known each other for a minute. This ain't like
right.
Them meeting a year ago or 2 years ago, something like that. And I guess
so what was the occasion though? It was her birthday.
I have no idea.
It was just a random night.
I think the controversy came because of what he was saying. Like, nobody's gonna get me, and like he's talking about a woman that's not his wife, saying that nobody can get me out the house past 10:30. Get me to smile this big. Well, he said not very many people can give me a smile this big.
You want to set a good example? I'm going to set a good example right here in the room. Okay. So Trixie and Rory. If Trixie and Rory go out to like Waffle House or she want to have a conversation, I'm completely okay if she hits him up and be like, bro, I gotta talk to you. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Because I know their relationship.
Right, because I know their relationship.
The same with her and Donald, because she's known Donald for years since like elementary school.
And that's a female, so that's prime example right there because I know their relationship, so she probably knows their relationship.
I think certain people know certain people that you can't have your significant other around.
Yes, correct. You read people.
Once they post that Waffle House shit on Instagram, it's like, okay, well,
right,
like hold up, bro, like. What's
right,
Chris?
If he's posting online, then it's got to be okay. Like, what he wouldn't be trying to do something sneaky and bust himself out at the same time. Right? But at the same time, like, you got to know your spouse. So if you think that's gonna cause some problems, just don't do it.
Yeah.
But it's just knowing your spouse and what they allow you to do, I guess.
Good point.
You know?
And then you know when your spouse is a hoe too.
Yeah, you gotta know that.
Is she married to him?
That's her husband. That's her husband. And the lady he's in the photo with, that's just his friend. Brandon, you didn't say much.
I don't really have much to say. I just say it's subjective on the amount of time that they've put in as relationship, I guess.
I think it is
with friends.
It's weird, but we don't know the dynamics of people's relationships.
That's
so
true.
We gotta let it go.
Everybody online will judge you, and they don't know the entire story. They don't know the depth of these two people, how they know each other. Everybody will look at it subjectively on what they can only see.
But we know what shit look like.
Yeah. Of course we know what it look like. But as you can see, Jordin Sparks is fine with it. So if she fine with it, why shouldn't we be fine with it?
Right.
That's true.
That's
Exactly. You just don't know the dynamics of the relationship.
Alright, so that's all we got for music. And the only reason we put that Omarion and Jordin Sparks thing in here because they're musicians. So that's the only reason we put that in music. So we're going to move on now. The next thing we got is the What's Trending segment. And then after that, we'll get into the shout out segment. So the first thing we got for What's Trending, you got some articles, right?
Just had an ice one.
Alright, okay, so that's the one we're going to start with. So this is a report that came out. It says the Department of Homeland Security set up a fake university where ICE has reportedly arrested almost 250 foreign students. The Department of Homeland Security is pulling out all the stops to take undocumented U.S. citizens into custody. One of the latest stunts involves the creation of a fake university in Metro Detroit. According to USA Today, DHS set up the school known as Farmington University back in January and has been taking students into custody since it was created. The number of students arrested has reportedly grown to 250. Apparently, federal ICE agents strategically entice foreign-born students, mostly from India, to attend the school. And like I said, 250 foreign students were arrested. So how do you feel about this? Yeah. You said what?
That's dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty.
That's super dirty. You're setting them up for the okie doke, like for getting an education, you know?
All right. Yeah.
Come on.
I know you felt strongly about it, Brandon. Go ahead.
I mean, even if you look at this from, so say you know nothing about immigration and you say you have a completely different opinion as far as immigration goes. You don't like immigrants, whatever, being in the country illegally and whatnot. Even if you look at it from an ethical standpoint, they're enticing students from other countries to come here to enlist into a school to get an education from the United States, which is held up to the top as far as it goes to education, as far as I know. You're enticing them to come from another country and only to deport them back. For what reason do you have to take it to such an ethical extreme? There's a difference between fine if they're here and there's as far as immigration goes, but it's students that you're putting in that position who only want to actually go to school. It's when you think of it from an ethical standpoint, it's very, very, very fucked up.
It's crazy. Entrapment is illegal, but the really, really fucked up part about it is that they're doing this to people who are completely vulnerable. Like, think about you come to a country on a visa to go to a school that is not real, so your visa is not real either, and you get deported. How you gonna fight that? How you gonna beat that? You're basically punishing people who can't fight back at all in any way.
I think that whole ICE
shit is fucked up. What is the point of them coming here then if they're just going to take them back?
Well, I mean,
what's the point of the university?
It's probably so they could document it.
That's a private person.
And if you overstay, as far as if a lot of the students that enrolled into the school, what happens is they were on student visas. So when you're on a student visa, you have the opportunity to say if you wanted to pursue a higher degree, you can stay and transfer to another college. So apparently, some of the students that ever went to a college previously, I think it's about 80% of them, of that 250, they went to a school initially and they've transferred to this school in order to get further education and then when they enrolled into this school, thus is happening.
It's like finding a way to weed out immigrant students. Like, okay, let's find all the immigrant students, and send them back.
Essentially, not thinking about the ethical standpoint.
That and to continue to fuel the fear and the hate that America already has. Yeah. You know, it's easy to put out an article like it said. 250 immigrant students or whatever, deported or whatever. Right. That looks messed up. It looks like we have a immigrant problem when we don't. Yeah. Right. These are people just trying to further their education.
Right. And at the end of the day, this whole country is built off immigrants. I've always said it. Exactly. You go to Asia, you find Asians. You go to South America and you go to different countries, you find people from that particular country whose roots come from that country. You come to America and it's a melting pot. That's what it is. We're all immigrants. Even the white people. Somebody came from the Mayflower and landed here and took over everything. You didn't discover the land because there was already people here.
The people and I brought this up in a previous podcast. If y'all, the audience remembers, technically anybody who's from here, Caucasian, white, it doesn't really matter regardless of race, whatever, who feels that they're truly American, we're not really American. No. The indigenous people from here are Native American people. The people that we took away. So technically we are all immigrants for all I fucking care.
Exactly. Right. So what was the official motive that was stated?
They just wanted to they wanted to kind of, I guess, document it per se.
Okay, I was gonna say
document it and just get them out.
Yeah, but the problem is, what the bottom line problem is, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. The bottom line problem is racial profiling. You guys are automatically associated because of your background to terrorism. That's what the bottom line is.
And that's the contradictory thing. It's so you say that they're so bad and all this stuff, and then you're going to attack ones that are trying to get education and get better. That doesn't make any sense.
And then have these immigration laws where basically your education level depends on if you can even come to the country based on where you're from. But you can go to these European countries and go in and out, and they can come here and chill, and it is what it is. But if you're coming from a country in Africa or a country in the islands, you jumping through all these hoops and hurdles just to even stay in America for a certain amount of time.
I want to hear what Ravina has to say.
No, my question was if they made the fake university to get a report or whatever to document something, but then it came out that the university is not real, then what was the point of the report?
To document them and send them back.
It was fake. Everything was fake. It was
fake. Because they wanted to see, I guess, the amount of people that would actually enroll into it.
Who wouldn't want to? Everybody sees America as the best place to go to school.
And that's why I say from an ethical standpoint, this is very... It's just fucked up. Anybody from another country would want to go to this school.
Right.
And what I read too is that they managed to get this on the website, wherever it is, as far as admission goes, that this is nationally accredited. Mm-hmm. So if a school is nationally accredited and you can just transfer in as far as admission goes, who the hell wouldn't want to go here?
Exactly. Who authorized to make this fake university to begin with? How was that?
Exactly. How did this get this far?
We'll sit up.
They gotta be capitalizing off of it somehow. Right. And there's it's like a private prison. It's just like private prisons. You get a check for every inmate. The government money is endless. It's a blank check. Right. So that's pretty much a setup.
It's just another experiment.
Yeah, it's got to be. America is capitalizing off of that somehow, some way, and they're causing a divide by doing things like that. Like what he said, it all kind of just contributes to the fire that they have burning already.
So ultimately, they're thinking that this may have prevented some form of terrorism.
Correct. Because they section you out essentially.
But can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So okay. This is one point nobody likes to touch on. So the people who are here and are white descent or Caucasian descent, they're the ones mostly, and if you look at the numbers, they're the ones who mostly do the mass shootings. Mm-hmm. So how is their terrorism different from an outsider's terrorism?
Because of the media.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. But where do you send these people?
I don't know.
How do you categorize them? How do you catch them?
It's based on the demographics that these people that we so-to-so run our government and whatnot speak on. It's so that they can they base the qualifications. Oh, this is how a terrorist looks like. This is how he's typically brown. He's of Muslim descent.
Right. He's automatically going to be this.
The true terrorists are first-class citizens.
Exactly. That's my point.
So it's kind of like there's nothing that's going to be done. It's like they look just like Jesus, literally. So we're not going to do anything.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So that's all we're gonna say on that. That was a good little discussion, though. The next thing we got, it was. The next thing we got for what's trending here. This is a report of a Nashville couple. They returned bags of money filled with thousands inside a local ATM. What's it say? Says a local couple from Nashville found themselves in this exact situation, and their surprise and their good fortune may surprise you, as reported by blah blah blah, some news company. Married Nashville, Tennessee couple Nader and Noor, I don't know how to say their last name. They visited a Bank of America ATM and unexpectedly found thousands inside the machine concealed in a bag. Just how much money did they stumble upon? That would be about $50,000, which they promptly returned. The couple took the money inside the nearest Bank of America and handed it over to a company employee. A spokesperson for Bank of America confirmed that the bag of money was found by the couple was accidentally left by workers from the company that puts money in the ATM machines. So yeah, who's doing this? I don't think anybody's doing this.
You know
right?
what though? They're smart because think about it. It wasn't like it was just a bag of money found on the side of the road. Those are government issued bills with trackers and that shit. They said no thanks.
Somebody left the bag behind for their people to come grab it.
Look, the same people who set up the university.
That's funny.
Come on now, y'all really don't think they don't have no trackers in them bags?
They're automatically from the bank. They're marked.
Exactly.
They're marked.
Y'all said so. Who in here would be willing to go to jail for somebody?
Basically,
yeah, that's 50. It's 50. It's
50 bands on the run.
All right.
Money truck flipped over on the highway. They said they still looking for people who took that money.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is how much money that's been processed through the bank. It's in a fucking bank bag.
All right.
They know where each and every bill is. Like.
Yeah, that's crazy. Next thing we got here, Toys R Us is officially coming back.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
For sure.
Yeah, I know you couldn't wait. That's why I put it on here for you, ass nigga. Just in time for all your holiday shopping, Toys R Us is back again. Complex reports that the company's first new store since filing for bankruptcy is located in New Jersey. The new location is the first of 2 Toys R Us locations in the U.S. and is expected to be open in time for some much-needed holiday revenue for the company. I was actually kind of sad when I heard that they were like Toys R Us was actually going, because I remember going in Toys R Us as a kid and that shit's fucked up that, you know, they kind of took that shit away. I'll be the one to say it. Y'all niggas know y'all was in Toys R Us too. Exactly.
Yo, my son cried. I ain't gonna lie, my son.
Nah, the way you look at that, you looking like this nigga right here.
We drove by.
Like about to swing at you.
Toys R Us, and my son started just bawling. I was like,
oh, that's fucked up. Damn.
Like kids don't have nothing to do.
I was like, yo, look at the giraffe. What do I say?
Right, what do I say?
Shit, I'm crazy.
Fucking guy. We'll bring back the memories, man.
Well, when you look at it, they probably learned from that failure and not necessarily declaring bankruptcy is a loss. A lot of smart people with financial aspect, it'll be a smart thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as creditors go.
Are they gonna still do the same like?
They probably won't because
store thing. Like,
they're probably not. They probably
exactly.
once you fail, you know what you need to change and you try to implement that. So more than likely we're gonna see different. We're gonna see
Hopefully it'll be
changes.
like an attraction kind of thing. I feel like it'd be cool if they switched it up to make it something like kids would actually want to go to. Like, Mom, let's go to Toys R Us.
That's how I would.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Like if they were smart, they would capitalize off the fact that most people are really raising their kids with electronic shit. Like, let's bring your kids to come do something. I don't know.
I think it's quite backwards. I think it's more or less the prices, because you can't compare Toys R Us to Walmart. That's why they went out of business in the first place, because you go to Toys R Us, something is $15 more expensive than if you go to Walmart or if you order it online. It just doesn't make sense as a parent to even buy it from there.
Every business has that issue with Walmart.
It doesn't matter.
There are some people though that actively look at Walmart and they say, I'm not full of Walmart.
Or really
because of that. They're like, let me support the other businesses that Walmart is basically.
Because that's the reason that they're failing. Because believe it or not, I mean, of course you probably believe it, is Walmart.
Right.
All the products that you get, doesn't matter if you go into an ethical store, like a international store, doesn't matter Hispanic or what, or like, you know, a Mediterranean store, toys, books, everything Walmart has is because there's another business somewhere that sold it, and they, you know, technically took that product and put it on themselves, and they undercut it.
Exactly. They tapped in everywhere.
Yeah.
They like Amazon, exactly. Amazon and Walmart is the reason why there's no Toys R Us. Because I'm going to order the Barbies on Amazon and have them come to my house, as opposed to fighting somebody's mother in the store because she done took the last Barbie that my baby wanted.
Yeah, that's true. And the last thing I got before we get into Brandon's, this is a newly discovered by scientists. There's a newly discovered massive black hole that scientists and astronomers say shouldn't even exist. The gigantic stellar black hole, 15,000 light years from Earth, is twice as massive as what researchers thought was possible in our own galaxy. This This is baffling to scientists, people. The black hole is 70 times more massive than the sun, which scientists wrote in a new study, blah, blah. Previously, scientists thought that the mass of a stellar black hole formed from the gravitational collapse of massive stars couldn't exceed 30 times of that of the sun, but this black hole is that size, so how we feel about that?
Fucked or not?
Right.
It didn't say anything about it coming this way, anything like that. They just discovered it.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's not. It'll.
Damn, I'm straight.
Alright.
It's not surprising to me.
But if astronauts and astronomers don't even think that this is possible, that just,
but that's the thing.
How do they know what's possible? It's the whole universe.
They want the unknown to come up so they can continue to work. That's kind of
you can't
There's
know.
so much of the observable universe we even have access to because the universe is constantly expanding. Like we are never gonna even know
know what's in the ocean.
Thank you. We haven't even explained.
We know more about space than the ocean. Actually,
that's like saying that
crazy.
Life only exists here. We all know that life has to exist somewhere else. Like that would just be selfish to think that life only exists here and there's a whole universe.
Right.
It's a lot of real estate, but we could be the only thing in this specific point in time.
Maybe at this point, well, I don't know. There's
well, technically, life is considered. It doesn't have to look like us.
Exactly.
An organism can be.
It's not that
exactly.
What I'm saying though, it could be just we're in this very small little piece of time,
which we are technically.
Right. So maybe something existed in just a little, but it's off topic.
And there's probably species light years and light years away. Like that's how big the universe. It takes so long to go from one place to another that who knows what's really out there.
That's the same as the ocean. They don't even. They haven't even discovered half of what's in the ocean.
It's probably only 30. I think it's 30%. 30% of the
Who knows
ocean.
what's out there in places.
But back on this, I guess it's just when you think about the laws of physics and all that kind of stuff that they have as far as science goes, people thought of these things. They've come up with theories. It's bound to change because there's stuff that's being discovered every day. It's bound to change. It's not going to stay the same. So I don't know why they're surprised that they discovered something. Right. Of course, that should be expected, as far as that stuff goes.
We should hope that we find shit that's way bigger than we can imagine. Like, I mean, I would hope we continue to find things that continue to baffle us. Because at what point do we get where we completely plateau and there's no evolution?
Right. That was the last one I had. You don't have another one, so I have to ice one. Alright, so that's all we got for the What's Trending segment. The next thing we got here, we got the shout out and the fuck you segment. So I'll give a couple shout outs. In the shout out segment, the fuck you segment, pretty much for shout out, we pretty much just give a shout out to anybody we want to give a shout out to. Up and coming music artist that nobody doesn't really know a lot about, athlete, anybody, businesses too, any kind of restaurant that you went to, anything like that you want to shout out on the mic. Why she look like that? That's funny. The fuck you segment is just if you want to give a fuck you out to anybody. So I'll do my shout outs first. I don't have a fuck you for anybody. So the first thing for the shout out segment, I want to shout out. I gave him a shout out before, but I want to do it again. I want to shout out Lamar Jackson, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. He continues to make history, NFL history. He is the first player with 3,000 passing yards and 1,500 rushing yards over his first 2 seasons. He is also the youngest player in NFL history with multiple games of 5 or more touchdown passes this year. He is on pace to break Michael Vick's single-season quarterback rushing record in 2006. And how many? He has 25 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions this year, 2,500 yards. He's about to hit 1,000 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. He has 32 touchdowns so far on this year. So I want to say shout out to Lamar Jackson, man, because we're not going to do the sports segment anyway. So shout out Lamar Jackson, big trust. Woo woo, we already know that. This nigga's retarded. Next person I want to shout out is Carmelo Anthony, the newly acquired Carmelo Anthony for the Portland Trailblazers. He's now averaging 18 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds a game. He's shooting 46%, 37 for 3. He's doing his thing, man. A lot of people counting Carmelo out, man. He's back. He's in the NBA. He's where he belongs, man. He actually got Western Conference Player of the Week this week, so shout out Carmelo Anthony. And then the last thing here I wanted to shout out was this place in Smyrna I went to a couple weeks ago. It's called Chef La's Fish Fry Seafood and Grill. I actually went there with one of my boys from work, and I fucked around and got some fish. And I should have got the fucking catfish, but I got the tilapia, and the tilapia was alright, but the catfish was good as fuck. Like, that shit was official, and they had, like, a lot of good shit on their menu. It's on South Cobb Drive in Smyrna.
Wait, you got the tilapia, but you tasted it?
I tasted the catfish.
He gave it to you?
Yeah, he gave me a piece.
He fed you it?
But no, that shit was, like, really good. And I don't even eat catfish like that. Like, I'm more of a tilapia person. That's why I even got the tilapia. But
arm raised.
Right, I know, right? But, yeah, the catfish... The catfish was way better. So yeah, that is in Smyrna. Anybody got a shout out they want to say? Shout out.
I got a shout out and fuck you at the same time.
Okay, go ahead.
Matt Ryan, I hope you still falling from that stiff arm.
The Saints fan over here. Anybody else?
I'm so mad because I didn't even know I was making that face, and I was just like, I fought with you on that, but at the same time, I hope he's still feeling that stiff arm. I ain't even gonna do it.
Any fuck yous? Anybody fuck you?
Nah, man. Shout out to Jesus, man.
Again, right? Shout out to Jesus.
Shout out to all y'all, man.
Fuck you to Brandon. Nah, fuck Brandon.
Hey,
I
shout
said
out
that
to everybody who slaved in the kitchen for Thanksgiving because I didn't forget.
That's a
all.
good
So
one.
I appreciate
That's
everybody who fed me on Thanksgiving.
Shout out to whoever washed dishes on Thanksgiving.
Shout out to them. Shout out to all the dishwashers.
All right, we got too many shots going here. Let's
Nah, that was good though.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I do a fuck you?
Yeah, who you got?
Fuck you to all the patients who schedule their appointments at the last minute and they get upset because they can't get in.
Talk your shit.
Okay.
Bill, look what this girl just said. That's what somebody's gonna say.
If your vagina's falling off, think ahead.
Isn't that Gloria?
And shout out to my brother who has his own band, As Temples Collide.
All right.
I know, right? All right, so that's all we got for the shout out and the fuck you segment. So the next thing here, we haven't really done anything like this before, but since we got so many people here of different genders as well, both male and female, because most of our podcasts have been mostly male. We're gonna talk some relationship talk here, and this Brandon actually came up with these two things. So let me say that first. So the first thing was the toughest. I don't know how you want to start.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna talk about is so we both can give an idea, I guess, per side, female and male, is what we're going to look at as the toughest part of a relationship, what we feel like the toughest part of a relationship. So I'm going to let everybody talk and see who wants to go first. What they feel like.
Anybody wants to go first. You go first. You the one that came up with it.
All right, that's fine. I feel like the toughest part of a relationship is communication, because that's something that it doesn't necessarily have a time frame for you to get it down. You just have to be able to learn every day. I feel like communication is the most important thing and difficult thing, because you have to learn each other and you have to put in enough time in order to get your communication effectively down to that point. That's what I feel.
I agree, but I think the toughest thing is not being so selfish and getting out of your own ways.
Okay.
I mean, I think
this nigga. I was gonna say that.
Go ahead.
That's all good. I was gonna say
You can elaborate on it.
Nah, I'm gonna let
everybody else.
It's too late. Nah. What you got, bro?
I think it's probably staying on the same page, because you're gonna grow as a person. Y'all might grow together, you might grow apart. Just your own personal life. You still got to manage that while managing in a relationship. So and just humans in general, you never know. I can say the red car, and you think a Corvette, and you think a Chevy Cobalt. You know what I'm saying? Like. So it's perspective and stuff, but it's,
I would never think of a Chevy Cobalt.
I know, but I did.
You were looking at me.
I don't even know why we're talking about cars right now.
You want to go? You guys? Roy, Gloria?
You go.
I think I'll piggyback off compromising, because my wife, she's a giver, and she take care of her house, but she'll also make sure the next person is taken care of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas with me, I'm taking care of my house. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about the next man.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're not in my circle, I'm not worried about you.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure everything around me is taken care of, like 100% before I give anything else up.
Okay.
Where my wife, she give at the house and she give out.
Yeah, she makes sure everybody else.
She makes sure everybody else is good too.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead, Gloria.
That's a hard one. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it's
when you come from like for example, we come from different ethnic backgrounds, so cultural acceptance is a big thing, because what's normal for me is not normal for him, and he's had to learn that over the years. Like Spanish folks they come to your house without announcing themselves, or like for example, my dad called me up and he was like, "Yo, my best friend from Colombia is coming. He's gonna come to. I never met this man before. Keep in mind, he's gonna be in Atlanta.
He's gonna be at your house.
That's exactly what he said. So I turn around and I tell him, and he's like, "Who the hell? I'm gonna have a stranger in my house? How the hell is that gonna happen?" But it's completely normal for us.
Yeah.
So
I have to second you on that, because
it's
and
hard.
My mindset is, you know, that's fine for them, and that's cool. But my mindset is, I don't know this dude, and I got 2 girls.
Yeah,
I'm sleeping in here. My girls are in their room, and he in the guest room.
Right.
If I wake up and something's going on, I'm killing your friend, bro. Like, with no questions asked.
Why he gotta jump to that automatically? That was my
exact question. I'm like, this guy's out. That's how we think.
That's how we think.
That's how we think.
So I think that's the main one.
Derek.
What was the question?
What was the toughest part of
the toughest part of being in a relationship to you?
It could be like everybody said.
Nah.
Fuck all that, bro. To you,
I'm fucking with y'all.
Trust, bro. Trust. Trust is everything. You know, I agree. Communication, compromise, all those things. But you know, trust is like a foundation. You know, and I'm a prime example of being able to rebuild trust. So even when trust falls, you know what I'm saying? Like I could honestly vouch and say it's not the end. You know, like it's definitely a way to come back from trust problems. But to be honest, you know, trust is a lot because you got to know the person, how far you can trust them. Right. You know, I mean, the beginning of any relationship is always sketchy for anybody because you're trying to learn a person.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's work. You know, that's work in itself. And if you love big, you know, you don't want to be hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt. So trust is, you know, probably the foundation of it for me.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Okay.
Let someone go for it.
I mean, I really, at first I was kind of thinking more so like what everyone else is saying, a lot of communication though, but if you think about it, a lack of communication comes from a lack of trust because you don't feel comfortable saying what's really on your heart or what you really might want to say, or even if it's just like, I might not say whatever I might want to say because I don't want to ruffle feathers or nothing like that. It's just, it's like give or take. And you have to learn how to give to somebody, but also learn to take that too and what you're willing to accept.
All right. Yeah, I feel that. I think everybody's answer was good, but like what Brian was saying about being selfish, I think that is a big, tough part of being in a relationship because like Derek said too, when you're getting with somebody, like getting to know them, that's always a challenge with it itself because you two could have totally different personalities, and that definitely affects the relationship going forward because you could have a way that you are and your significant other could have a way that they are, and you two collide. And sometimes whoever's attitude is wrong some of the time, sometimes that can collide to the point where it's hurting your relationship and you have to take a step back and stop being selfish and think about your relationship in the long run and think about the other person. So there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made. So I think what Brian said about being selfish and, you know, also getting to know somebody, you know, taking a step back, because there's a lot of things that we don't even realize until somebody else tells us and we with somebody. It's a lot of shit that we do that we don't even know until they tell us and you're like, damn, I didn't realize I do that. And you know what, that is kind of fucked up that I do that, so I need to stop being selfish. So I definitely agree with all that. Anybody else got anything they want to say?
I think, to me, the biggest thing is when you're with someone for a very long time, people are going to change, and you kind of sort of have to evolve with people's changes, and that's, but another thing would be communication. Like, if you don't have communication, people are changing, your relationship will fail.
Right. That's true. I feel that.
I will say this though. I think I know the key to a healthy relationship.
What's that?
Absence and presence.
What you mean? Elaborate.
So to me, you know, too much of anything is not good for you.
Okay.
And I know, you know,
I see what you're
relationships.
saying.
Yeah, relationships could get complicated. So as males, you know, sometimes a man feels the need to step away from a situation, and he may go to the bar and have a drink just to cool off. But that is gonna get shorty so tight when you leave because she gonna be in the crib like, this motherfucker just left, excuse my language, and left me here like that, and this, that, and the third. But meanwhile, you don't understand, we need that cool. So it's like absence and presence is definitely the key to a healthy relationship. But you gotta be understanding to it on both ends. So ladies may have to understand, all right, he needs to cool off. That's the absence of it. Then we come back to the table later. Then presence is, you know, too much of anything is no good, like I said, but the presence, all right, I'm going on 12 years strong with my wife.
Right.
And we've been through it all.
I said these two only women. I forgot
we've
you
been
married
through
to.
it all, but I had a job one time that I was on the road a lot.
Right.
And I couldn't wait to get home to wifey.
Right.
That feeling was just, there was none like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, I'm out here working, but as soon as I get home, it's a session that's gonna go down. That's never. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but then you need to miss something when you're getting too much of it. You got to step away. You know. So
a lot of people don't understand that. That's true. But you're right about that. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that though.
Do you feel like there's a line as far as absence and presence? I was like, y'all got a cow over here? Do you feel like there's a line as far as absence and presence? As in, you can't be doing it all the time. You have to stay there and talk to her at some point.
Yeah, no.
You can't. It can't be every single argument that has to be absence and presence.
There's definitely a line. I like that you said that, because there should be a line. You got to know when to leave the absence alone and become present, and know when to step away from the presence to become absent. So yeah, there's definitely. Because you can't do it too much.
Can't do that, Chris. Too much. Can't do it, dog.
but yeah, there's definitely a line, man. You know.
But one of those things with what he was just saying is, if you're upset about a situation and you're both like heated, it's better not to even talk at that moment.
Yeah.
Just take a step back, because once stuff comes out of your mouth and it comes out sideways, you can't forget that. That's always gonna be in the back of your mind. Yeah. Whether you forgive, it just leaves that that scar there. Yeah. So it's just better to step back and then have a conversation like adults, and sometimes you're gonna be butthurt, but you can get over it. But it's maintaining that respect. My grandmother always said that respect was the most important thing, because once you break the respect, it's really hard to rebuild it, just like trust.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we feel that. Anybody else got anything you want to say? Ryan, Donald, you two the only ones I ain't seen.
Marina.
Y'all know y'all got what you gotta say, Donald?
I actually like what you said. Okay, my thing is like, you know how you trust somebody so much, you tell them like the most personal thing about you, and then like see y'all get into like a heated argument or whatever, and then bring up that one thing that can cross the line, and then like it goes to shit from there. But it's a trust thing really. Like, don't bring up that one thing that crossed the line.
Like extra pinky toe. Yeah.
That's funny. All right.
People just be petty like that though. Like they want to just.
Right. They just want to make you mad.
On the person, I think typically.
Exactly. That's what's up. All right. So that was a good little talk too. All right. So we gonna do the Q&A segment then.
No. We still got one more.
Oh what? Oh yeah. My bad.
All right.
How long y'all think we've been recording for? If you had to guess.
No idea.
If you had to guess.
45 minutes.
It's about to hit an hour. 56 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right,
we good on time. Just let everybody know.
Yeah, we good. Yeah, we can take our time.
I forgot we had another one.
All right, this is another question before we get into the Let's Talk segment. We're going to talk about white lies. Is there such a thing as a white lie in a relationship?
Define a white lie.
It's something that you feel prospectively on you by not disclosing it to your partner, significant other, won't be of any hurt or any benefit to let them know.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
The definition of a white lie.
Oh,
did I see the definition?
Webster. What's Webster say?
A harmless or trivial lie. A harmless or trivial lie, especially one told to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Yes.
So can I get the female's opinion on this? Cause
let's get the females first.
I did this the other day. Can I give my scenario? What I did?
Nah, we gotta hear it first. We gotta give Ro time to.
I said I was going to the store and I went to the bar.
That's not okay.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm chilling at the bar watching the game, all right, and I really had to go to Kroger's, but I was like, you know what? Let me dip off real quick, get a drink, because I know the game was gonna start. And catch some of the game, and then I'll go to the store and go. So she hits me up like, why you ain't go to the store? And I'm like, I do have to go to the store, but I'm at the bar right now. So she's like, you think I'm some dumb chick? And I'm like, I don't think you a dumb chick. So, but I felt like it was just an innocent gesture, nothing crazy. I didn't go far, but I guess that was a white lie. Was that what you consider a white lie?
I feel like that would be
okay.
But the ladies have a problem with that.
If you lying, you know what you're doing. Like a white lie is fine, because sometimes you really are just trying to avoid an argument for no reason.
I think that's part
and that's
of
it. It's just kind of like, all right, I'm on the way. I'm not really, but fuck it.
That's
you know what I'm saying? But you trying to avoid a little quick argument.
I think I'm right.
What you think, Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, you got to, man. Like
you have to tell. You have to
look, you got to pick your battles, man. Like, look, let's be real. Let's be real about this shit. As a man, you only got so many battles you can really pick. Women, you can pick any battle you want to pick.
I feel like I'm about to get snuffed.
Y'all can pick any battle you want to pick. As a man, you got to be real careful. So if you answer honestly and you know it's gonna lead to this, and you don't even really care about it, man, just let that go. You gotta do that.
I'm saying.
Irvina.
I mean, there's a difference between a white lie and a lie. A white lie to me is like, I really like this shirt, but you think it's hideous, but you know I like this shirt. You're like, yeah, it looks great on you. That's a white lie. You're just trying to protect me,
That's experience.
But a lie is like, I'm going somewhere, but I'm not really going there. Now that's a lie. Why can't you just tell me you're going to the bar?
Shit, so I
if
lie.
I trust you.
That's funny.
Give me one thing if you was like, I'm gonna stop off at the liquor store after I go to Kroger's, or I might pull up to the homie's house to watch the game. You talking about I'm going to the bar? My man tells me, oh, I'm going to the store, and ends up at the bar. Where like. What do you look for in a bar?
A white lie is
right.
Y'all got Derek sweating over here, dog.
You be like, babe, I'm just trying to catch the game and have you a drink. It's like,
okay, I see.
I told you to go to the store and pick me up some milk.
You want to go?
Like, come on.
All right, bro, want to go.
I mean, I'm trying to think of one. Like,
I know it's hard. It's hard to think of one.
I'm gonna give you a pass.
Be honest.
Hey, that's a white lie.
But I'm seriously trying to figure. I mean, like, I think I did one time where she asked Trinity to clean the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I ended up cleaning it, but I told her Trinity did it. And then later on, I'm giving the girls a bath, getting them ready, and then she was like, "So Trin cleaned the bathroom?" And I was like, I slipped, and I wasn't, because I'm helping the girls, and I was like, I cleaned it or whatever, and she was like, oh, you cleaned it? I thought you said Trin did. And I'm trying to protect Trin so she don't get messed up. So that little white lie got me and Trin in trouble.
Yeah, that's really the best example of it.
Shit like that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was nothing really that harmful.
Exactly.
But you know what she told you to do. Right. So, yeah.
Okay, so what's the draw point?
What's the draw
point? It's the principle.
I'm saying, what is the draw point that distinguishes between? What's the draw point that distinguishes a lie from a white lie? You're just saying, I would imagine it had to be subjective on the person.
I think it's the severity of it.
Yeah, like something that's actually harmful and detrimental, like to your relationship.
Like when you're being deceptive and you're keeping secrets. Like in this scenario, when you're talking about like, oh, I cleaned up instead of. Baby clean up. It's like, you're probably like, I told her to clean up because you're trying to teach her, like, you need to clean up. Exactly. And you just like, oh, I'm just clean up, just because. Just get it out the way. Exactly, get out the way.
Keep the peace.
Right, but it's another thing when you're lying or white lying because you're trying to cover yourself for doing something that's harmful because you don't want them to know because you know it's harmful. Like, that's the line.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Anybody else got anything else to say before we move on? No? Sure. This nigga Don look nervous, but this nigga like,
he was like, damn, I just got done lying. I just told him I wanted to be here, but I really don't want to be here.
That's funny. Alright, so we gonna move on to the Q&A segment, and then we'll do the Let's Talk segment after that. Right. We just said, I'll read it here. So the first thing I'm gonna ask 2 questions here. One for us to speak amongst each other, and then we'll do one for the ladies here that I saw on Instagram that I thought was interesting. So this question here, we said we weren't gonna read the person's name, but this is from a young lady. She sent this the other day. She said, "Hey guys, I have a question on something that's been getting to me for a while now. There's this great guy I've been dating for about 6 months now, and I'm really into him and enjoy every moment of us being together. He's ready to get into a relationship with me, as am I, but there's a big problem that has been making me skeptical about making it an official thing. I am Christian, and he is a Muslim, and he takes his religion very seriously. And me, I'm more laid back with being a Christian, if that makes any sense." I don't know what that means, but I mean, does that make sense to everybody?
It does.
Okay.
Every couple.
In her mind, she's laid back.
Okay.
Yeah. Easter, Christmas.
I think at some point he's gonna want me to convert over to his religion, but I'll cross that road when I get to it. But my family will not approve of me being with this guy, nor have they met him. I don't know what to do. Should I care? My family probably won't approve of him. Have you guys ever had a similar situation or dealt with being with someone your family didn't approve of? Because I honestly haven't and don't know what to do. Thanks. We appreciate this question.
I can answer so personally with that.
Okay, go ahead.
So, my previous relationship with my husband, I am a different religion, and I'm also Bosnian, and he was Mexican, so therefore my parents are very old school, and they always wanted me to be with a Bosnian. So I hid my relationship for 4 years.
From your parents?
Yes.
You hid it from them?
Yes.
Damn.
Until it got to the point where we wanted to get married. And of course, at that point, I had to introduce my boyfriend to my parents.
Right.
And I always was so terrified of losing my parents. Like it was either pick him or pick my family.
Right.
And I guess I picked him in a way, but my parents eventually came around because either you get over it or lose your child.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
And they were fine with him being Christian and me being not Christian.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes that.
The whole like going to church and him being like super religious, it all depends. Like if he's really religious and you're not, that will be a problem because we were both not like super religious and not religious. Regardless, I'm not Christian. He is Christian.
Right.
Neither one of us was like going every Sunday to church or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I think that what happens more than this religion thing is race when it comes to parents. I think even like with Hispanic people, when like they have a black person that comes into their home, because I've gone through that personally before. I think that's more common than the whole religion thing. Like somebody's kid bringing home a black kid or a white kid, whatever the race is. I think that happens more often than the religion thing. But one thing I do want to say to the lady that sent this question, I think you need to think about you talking about converting over to a religion like it's just nothing. Like I'll deal with that. That's something. Yeah, that's serious.
At the end of the day, for like Christians or whatever, like, you know, God is such the foundation of relationships, and you kind of feel like if I don't have that, then this relationship can't survive. So I think when you're bringing in a totally different religion, it's kind of like lines are going to get blurred. I'm going to believe this thing, you're going to believe that thing, and now the very thing that was supposed to be keeping us together is not going to be that thing anymore. So it makes it very, very hard to do that.
But my thing is, he knew that she wasn't Christian, so why start a relationship knowing there was going to be an issue with you?
I'm more so thinking about the guy.
I don't think they think about that in the beginning.
Up front, but then other things come more into view as you get into that relationship more and more.
So, what's the difference between Muslim and Christianity? What's the biggest
difference? Muslims don't believe that Jesus rose from the dead. I believe
they believe him as a prophet.
Yeah.
They believe in Muhammad as their prophet.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing about it is, Islam is a very like habitual kind of religion, so I think that's why it clashes so much with Christianity, because you can be a lax Christian. I ain't never met no lax Muslim.
Well, Christianity is the fun religion.
There are lax
Exactly.
Muslims.
I have met lax
Muslims.
But I think a lot of people who are very devout in Islam, it's not really, you know, it might be kind of more so black and white. You know, you can't really just be with somebody and have your whole foundational belief differ. Like, you just kind of believe in something kind of different. Your practices, like your habits, it's just different when you believe in something that's kind of different from somebody else.
Right.
To me, the biggest problem is gonna be, and they have to think, like, if they really like each other. First of all, it depends on how open-minded both are, because there is a way to combine things and make it work in your household. But the biggest problem, because I saw it actually happen firsthand. One of my coworkers is from Pakistan, and she's Muslim. Her sons are Muslim, and one of her sons married a Christian. And I mean, it literally almost destroyed their family because they didn't think ahead to having kids. Now the kid is born, and she's asking to take, the baby to church, and he wants to take the baby to Khane and do the rituals that they have to do. And they're both not accepting of one another because they want the baby to go in the direction that they want them to go.
Right.
So it's really hard. It's really hard.
And that's a great example, because like you can even have somebody that's not really devout. And so you got two people that are not devout, and then they get into that, and when they get to the point of like, well, what are we going to teach our kid?
Right.
That's when the problem might start, and you're way deep at that point.
And he's not a devout like Muslim, like he doesn't go to Khane all the time, or he doesn't do his rituals all the time. His mom is. So his mom was the one who asked him, hey, this is our background, this is our culture, let's take the baby and do this. And his wife was like, I don't feel comfortable with doing that because you're not letting me take the baby to church. So even his mom at one point was just like, let her just grow up and learn both sides and let her pick what she wants.
Right.
But not everybody's open to that, and it causes like a lot of conflict.
Yeah, true.
So if you're ready for that battle.
All right, so in one of the questions she asked, should I care? My family probably won't approve of him. Should she care?
Right, if she don't care about the family, then I mean,
right, tell her that shit ghetto.
She said what?
Tell her that shit ghetto.
That's like stupid. What else she asked? Have anybody ever dealt with a similar situation? I think 2 people said something about that. Like I said, I think the biggest thing to me is you need to think about if you're going to really convert over to his religion. That's what I was going to say too. Do Muslims usually go when they know somebody's a Christian? Because I'm more so thinking about the guy. Does like, I mean, I don't know how.
No, bro. Once you're once you're of Muslim faith, bro, you are in it, bro.
Mm-hmm. So you will usually go for somebody that's Islamic as well, right?
Absolutely. But then again, you can't. But then again, he's probably not. Of course, he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about feelings.
I like
he's not
her.
thinking about
Exactly.
But when you ties in what you were talking about, Pete, because you were saying that it's cultural. Like every culture has a religion tied to it. That's such a very important part of people's. Like I said, even if they don't follow it, if they were starting to argue with somebody about this religion versus that, they might get all heated. Like I kind of do believe that more than I follow it, but they hold it like dear to their heart.
The whole religion thing, or like it's all old school. It's everyone now, kids nowadays, our age and everything. They just think of my parents.
Yeah.
Because their parents grew up in a different country, and that's what it was always expected of them.
Right.
But when you come here in America and you're like have all these different races, you can't help who you like. When you're from somewhere else and that's what everyone else is, it's easy to find someone who's just like you.
I think it's a sign of the times too, because like way back, like before we was thought about, I mean, people needed something to believe in just to get through those times. So now, like you said, kids are being born and they're not even thinking about religion.
No,
they're like, nah, I believe in science, and I'm pretty sure evolution is the way, and this is what goes.
It's just like a wanting to be right. It's like there's no clear way to say like what's right, what's wrong. It's like, oh, this religion is this and this religion is that. It's just like different ways of practicing really the same shit. It's just like wanting something to believe in. It's just different ways of doing it. So I feel like however much you're willing to compromise with somebody else and do different things, then go for it. But if you feel this way and these are your beliefs, I don't think it's feasible to really be with somebody else who does not have those beliefs. If you're talking about building a life with them.
Right.
It's like dating somebody casually and then being like, well, I want to be with them, I want to marry them, I want to spend the rest of my life with them. If you believe in two different things, how is that really going to work?
So strongly, Irvina brought that up. Strong, well, at least one strongly and then one is lax. If they're both lax, like somebody else who mentioned that. Yeah. If you're both lax, fine. Maybe there'll be leeway as far as that goes. But
even like if you're trying to make your parents happy, you split it. You go. If you don't share the same religion, it means you're not fighting over Christmas. You're not fighting over anything. You go for Christmas. I go with his family because my parents don't celebrate Christmas. And on my holidays, he comes to me. I mean, it's simple. Like it's easy.
Think about how much effort that probably is, though, as opposed to being with somebody where you don't have to do all that.
That's if the person wants to do
the
effort.
Much
so
are
that's
you willing
where
to do that? Do you really love this person enough to where you can see past all of that?
So what?
I think we're moving past the point. I think the point is
what should she do?
Since you've been dating him for 6 months and you already had these impasses, then to be honest, it's probably a no-go. I think it's I probably think you've been dating 6 months, and to be honest, 6 months isn't enough time to know anybody anyway. But like I said, you've already kind of made the decision to know that it's already going to be a kind of an issue, or else you wouldn't ask the question. Mm-hmm. So more than likely, it is going to get to a point to where, and you're already thinking that he's going to ask you to be a part of the religion. You kind of, unless he's said that and you haven't disclosed that to us, you've said that in here, and so I think that you already know it's going to be an issue, especially if he's strict on his religion. So yeah, y'all might like each other, and yeah, it may be hard to realize that and accept that, but if you're really thinking long term as this goes, it's not going to work. Unless there's somehow you can figure it out. But to be honest, especially being a Muslim, not that I'm speaking from experience, but I would imagine that there's a lot that goes into it as far as religion and being involved in that kind of stuff. Right. You got to make a commitment not only to him, but you're also taking this with you as well. Are you going to be committed to doing that?
And that's about not being able to share yourself spiritually with somebody.
That's a whole nother conversation with her parents, because they haven't even met him yet.
It seems like she worried about everything else outside of him.
Yeah.
Right. Why don't you talk to him?
He's kind of like, he's laid back. I know he'll get with it, but is he still going to try to instill things on our kids, or is his family going to accept him? She ain't even worried about him.
Because now she got to introduce him to her parents, and then he's Islamic, and then now you're pretty much saying that now you're going to tell your parents that you're about to be Islamic, and that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, but she hasn't even come to the point where she's thinking are his parents gonna accept me?
Right.
Because
that's another thing. See, there's so many factors.
I mean, it's both sides.
No, her parents might be like, okay, or he might be like, why are you worried about all of that? I love you. You just
people know.
Right, and if you feel that way, if you really have an instinctual gut feeling like this might be an issue, you should probably listen to that intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. So good luck.
Something is probably trying to tell you something.
Yeah, honestly, that shit got over. Good luck.
You've been quiet. You got anything you want to say?
Why don't you do that? Pray on it.
You don't got nothing you want to say.
I just said what I was thinking.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so that's all we got for the Q&A segment. Again, we appreciate that question. If anybody has anything similar they want us to discuss on the podcast, send that to askinsensitivepod@gmail.com. No I in insensitive. We appreciate every single person that has sent a question up until this point.
Don't send me no ignorant shit.
Yeah, because I don't think we had too many of that. Anything stupid. And then next thing we got here is the Let's Talk segment. So I'll let Brandon lead into this one, and then we'll have a discussion. Then we'll close.
So, as you guys know, we introduced a section called the Let's Talk segment a couple weeks ago. Basically, it goes into talking about pretty much self-worth and where you want to be as far as your goals and where you aim to be in your life, and what as far as hindering you to be to that level, or what steps you can take in order to get to that level, and what's preventing you, and what can certain impasses you can reach individually to prevent you from reaching those goals. So today we're going to talk about sadness and happiness. I feel like that's very important as far as, and Pernell will piggyback on it as well as everybody else, I'm pretty sure, how that can hinder you and help you reach your goals, and you know, as far as that goes into it. So I want everybody's opinion on that. So I'm going to read a couple questions to what I kind of want to, you know, talk about. So now, as far as we're going to start with sadness. Now, sadness, what I feel like it stems from as far as reaching your goals, I feel like, and I'm pretty sure everybody else will chime in as far as this goes, when you're in that kind of state, you're not going to be able to focus on what you need to do in order to get out of the rut that you're in from feeling this type of way. So I feel like it plays a very big role as far as hindering you from reaching that goal. It's not gonna, you're gonna reach an impasse where you feel like you can't go forward. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to turn to. You don't know what steps to take in order to get out of that situation. So I feel like sadness plays a big role as far as...
I would use the word depression, honestly. Sadness.
Yeah, depression.
Sadness. That's some fifth grade shit.
I don't know, man. Depression, sadness, whatever. So I want to talk about like how you guys feel like it hinders your success, and if it's more situational or if it's more, I think, situational. We could do more situational.
Hinder your success?
Yeah, if it's more situational or if it's more of your surroundings. What do y'all feel?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, unless you
Now we're talking about specifically depression and sadness.
Oh, okay.
As far as it goes to your goals, do you guys feel like it's more situational, or do you?
What
feel
do you
like
mean,
it's
like situational?
Situational, as in your circumstances that you're going through right now, or is it the people that you're around, your surroundings?
I think it's both.
Yeah, it could be both.
Yeah, I think it definitely could be both.
Our own trauma that puts us in a certain mood, even to the point that it'll make us turn on our own people. Like we have that type of trauma, which is obviously a form of depression. But then overall, when you depressed, it's really nothing that you feel like you can go do. Everything you just feel like, no, I'm here. I'm not doing this. I'm not going out of my space at this point.
And the thing Brandon is more so speaking on, because with this Let's Talk segment, we speak about like a lot of more serious stuff, like as far as like achieving goals, because anything that he's come up with in the past has been stuff like that, as far as like just trying to, like I even said on here, trying to like just focus on something greater than your situation that you're going through. And the thing that I think the reason he brought this up is what can you do to avoid that pretty much, and continue to go down the path. I think like
what will pull you out that rut?
You have to have a positive mindset every single day, and it's a process. We said it on here a million times, but you definitely have to have the, like, you wake up in the morning. There's a song I play every single morning now when I get up. Now it's the same song. It's by Big Crit. I listen to this song every single morning now before I go to work. And I don't even remember the name of the fucking song, but it's a song I listen to every morning before I go to work. He says, "I know today is going to be the best day of my life." I listen to that every single morning before I start my day. It's just stuff like that puts you anything simple like that puts you in the right mind state just to go forward. And I wake up and I say today's gonna be the best day of my life every day, because I have a bigger goal that we trying to accomplish with this whole podcasting thing right now. And of course I'm not in a situation where this is of course taking off already, but to get where you want to go, you have to stay positive. Everybody has something they could be thankful for. You breathe in a day, and of course we all get lost in that because we don't think like that every single day. It's hard. It's a process, but I think that is the main thing. Positive thinking is the main thing to get you past that, no matter what you're going through, depression, anything. And shit happens. There's shit that happens that's beyond our control. People pass, relationships fail, whatever it may be. You have to rise above it, and you have to stay focused on the goal. You have to know what's coming, and you have to keep pushing. And I'll let somebody else talk, because I don't want to just ramble. If anybody else want to say anything.
what do you guys feel goes hand in hand with as far as reaching your goal?
Quiet now. Y'all think talk all this shit.
I was trying to. Trixie got something to say. Hold on.
You said no interruption.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, to piggyback off what you said, yes, you have to have a positive mindset, but I also feel like you have to have positive people around you.
Yeah.
Because if you're around people who make you feel depressed, who are bringing you down, who's toxic, that plays into how your mindset is.
Right.
Because let's just say, like, any goal that you have, like, for instance, me, a goal, yes, I work, but I'm also a mother. And a goal of mine is to be the best mother that I could be. But I've suffered with postpartum depression. And it's like, yeah, you can have a positive mindset, but it's also like the people around you help with that.
Right.
So you have to have positive people around
Right.
you to be able to push you, because sometimes your own push isn't enough.
Right.
Sometimes
That's
that
true.
one person can help you to give you that push. Like, okay, that one person is there, they're helping. So you gotta remember, you have to surround yourself by positive people, because sometimes you can have positive people and it fails, but you can know that, at least you know that you have people around you.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've said it on here before, people's energy and people's, talk to people, that goes on to everybody else. Like, energy, I believe in all the energy shit. You could be around a toxic person, don't even come around me, my nigga, because you always know. I'm not, that's real.
Right.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be around shit like that, and that shit is real. Yeah,
so maybe that's something consistent, like, out there, just something consistent that you know is just not changing, and it's, it's not going to be worse or make you feel any, like, worse, or how should I say this, like, we have a consistent thing, like, for me, it's always, like, praying, because I know God got me at the end of the day. Right. So I feel like that's a consistent thing I have, no matter what the day was like, no matter, what that previous day was like, or what this day is going to be. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to pray and just ask for, a great day, and thank you for the last day. But it's something consistent that I always have, so it helps me keep me going.
Okay. All right. So since we talked about the depression, you want go ahead? Go ahead.
I was just going.
Go ahead.
Like pick off what he just said. You gotta have something that you can that you can put past that off too.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like with me, if I'm frustrated or I'm angry or something, I draw and I do designing and stuff. That's when I do some of my best work, because I take that anger, I take that sadness or whatever you want to call it, and I channel it into, that art. Mm-hmm. Like, I did a thing this past weekend for my daughter for her birthday. I created an intro for her. It took me forever to do it, but I had everything around me. I had my in-laws in, right. I had my family in, trying to get this party set up and all this other stuff. And I was getting frustrated. Things just weren't going, how they needed to go. Right. But I'm sitting there and I'm doing that intro, and this is something I've never done in my life before. Mm-hmm. And it came out perfect.
That's what's up.
But it's taking that, taking that negative, taking that anger, taking whatever it is,
and channeling
it into something else.
All right.
That works for me.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything?
I think that's a big thing, like knowing yourself. So like, because the realistic part of it is you're gonna hit that. Like, you're not gonna get through this life without hitting that. But yeah, I feel like, because I feel I'm an independent person, so it's like I don't really even want to put that on somebody else. Like, it is good to have positive people around, but it's the choice is yours. Right. You can't choose what's gonna happen to you, but you can always choose how you react to it.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe not even your initial reaction, because you're just gonna be, if you get real sad about it and like depressed. But depression is it's not a choice, because there's just people feel that they can't do anything about it. But you gotta learn yourself. Like, you're your best hope. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel that's even when you have a spouse, it's like you may put that on them, but if you're always putting that on them, man, that's a lot to carry. Like, because life in itself is already hard anyway. So you gotta kind of, if you could do it yourself, just really try. But it's easier said than done. But,
right, I feel that. I feel that.
I mean, there's two perspectives of it. And working in medicine, you get the scientific perspective, and then you have your spiritual perspective from everybody's different spiritual backgrounds. So obviously depression is a chemical disbalance in your brain. You wake up some days and you don't know why you're sad. There's nothing that triggered it. You just feel that way.
That's true.
Okay? So that's one perspective of it. And then another perspective that I've actually learned since my brother passed away, when I started doing some internal searching, is that true happiness comes from within. You know, you come into this earth by yourself. You're born by yourself. You don't come with anybody, and you leave this earth by yourself. So relying on somebody else to give you happiness is setting yourself up for disaster.
Yeah.
So it's really, really taking time to learn yourself, dig deep within yourself to learn who you really are. Because if you think about it, we spend a lifetime getting to know everyone around us, but we don't get to know ourselves. We don't take a second of the day and sit down and meditate or just talk to ourselves and ask ourselves, what is your purpose? What is your goal in life? And then another thing that I actually learned, and is actually like a really good illustration of it, is a tree. You know, you got your roots, you got your tree, you got your branches, and you got your leaves. There's people that you're going to come in contact with, and they serve a purpose for that moment. That's your leaves. They fall off every season. You get new ones. They're good for that moment, but, you know, you don't have a long relationship with them. There's your branches that are easily breakable. They're good. They're there. That's great. But I can't always rely on you. And then there's your roots. People that give you, you know, keep you rooted and make sure that you're okay, and they're not your energy vampires. And those are the people that you kind of sort of not completely rely on, but hang around in those moments and vent.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
I say, I mean, like what she said, surrounding, I'm sorry, Trixie, right? Yeah. Like surrounding yourself with the right people has a lot to do with it, but I think sometimes people fall in a place where they expect their surroundings to change, because this is what happened to me personally. I was just like with a bad crowd, but I thought it was normal. You know, I'm just thinking like, this is life. And then just enough of that, I was like waiting for certain things around me to change. And I realized something that it actually helped me. I was very young too, and it helped me living by this. It kind of helped me throughout life, you know. And it was like, you never should expect your surroundings to change your surroundings.
Right.
So it's basically like, you can't expect what's around you, and it's normal. It's the same routine. You can't expect that to change. So if you
have to make the necessary change.
If you eliminate yourself from that specific surrounding, that's when you see the change.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's a saying for that in Spanish. Dime con quien andas y te dirán quién eres. Tell me who you're around, and I'll tell you who you are. That's literally what
you are. Yeah, you are who you hang with. I think that led into the happiness shit too.
Yeah. So the next thing we're gonna get into, of course, it ties directly into it, is happiness. So just for me to touch base on that real quick is, even though you have your parts of your you know, the life that you lead, that you do feel some sort of depression, sometimes multiple times, sometimes at more periods than others, you have to think of the happy parts, as in, even though that you're going through these difficult times, you have to be able to push through and say and pull yourself up, because at the end of the day, you're only going to have yourself. You only come into this world, just like, I don't know who said that, you only come in this world by yourself. You're going to go out by yourself. No one's going to sit here. No one's going to help you change your situation. No one's going to do that for you.
All right.
You got to be responsible for your own actions. So you got to force yourself to be happy. You got to get up. This is what I'm going to do. This is what the steps I'm going to take in order to be to this level where I want to be. I'm going to force myself to do this.
I wouldn't say force myself to be happy.
Well, you have to keep your mind trained to do that.
You have to control your emotions. Yeah. Like if you just let your emotions control you.
But there are points where you do get like that. There's points where you get like, you're human, of course.
Like sometimes you just have chemical imbalances. But if you think about it, if you're always sad, it's because you're having sad thoughts. Yeah. And it's easy to say, well, just think happy thoughts. If you're thinking nothing but sad thoughts, nothing but sad stuff is going to happen to you, because that's what you're attracting. Yeah. But if you're always being positive and you're trying to at least feel like there's something more that's going to happen to you, then how can you not be around positive things or attract positive things into your life?
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer of speaking shit into existence. I say that all the time on here. And the reason that we even talk about this whole Let's Talk segment, because I think Derek even said the other day too, he was at work, he was like, there's a lot of people that's our age, because we in this, 27, 20, everybody's here all different ages, but there's a lot of people that's our age and younger that ain't thinking about a lot of this shit. And they go down the wrong path, like you said. They surround themselves with a lot of people is not thinking about a lot of the stuff that even Brandon comes, like a lot of the stuff that we talk about in here, a lot of people is not thinking about this type of shit at all. And that's the main thing, because we struggle with a lot of shit every day, but we do this Let's Talk segment to motivate people, to inspire people, to talk about things, get certain things off our chest. Because I feel like going forward, we're going to get a lot of things off our chest when we talk about this. Let's talk.
And I just want y'all to know that even though it may be hard, you got to get up that next day. You got to stay motivated. You got to do what you need to do because
the world going to keep spinning.
It's just going to keep spinning. Nothing's going to change because, we're feeling some type of way a certain day. You just got to keep pushing through it. You'll be fine. You just have to get up that day and push through and do what you need to do because it's just not gonna keep it's not gonna stop spinning just because we're through some type of way.
And as long as you got your mind towards something, a specific goal, stay motivated, stay inspired for real. Keep a positive attitude, like we just said, every single day. Happiness is the most important thing in the world.
Whenever you want to quit, just think of it like this: I'll quit tomorrow. And if tomorrow comes and you feel like you still want to quit, say I'll quit tomorrow again. Just put it off until tomorrow, and then think that way because you quit today, you done. Like, there's just no point. No one is gonna sit here and be here for you forever so you can facilitate your way out of this whatever situation you may be in. Right. You got to pull yourself through it, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. And for those of those out there who cannot get past the situation because it's not a controllable thing, and mental illness and every culture is really a taboo. Yeah. You got to think if your heart's not healthy, you go to a cardiologist. If your mind's not healthy, you go to a psychiatrist. It's really important that you seek help and you seek support groups that are sometimes going through the same thing as you, that allow ease and perspective to get you through that season in your life. Right. It's something very serious. If your mind's not working the way that it should, then you need to get the appropriate help to allow your life to propel yourself to the point where you have the energy to push yourself to the next day. Because not everybody has that.
Right. And talking helps sometimes. A lot of people don't want to talk about a lot of shit that they go through, but it definitely does help. And we want people to remember that, man. So we just said 1.5 hours too. So I think that was most of that. Was it? We want to talk about?
Well, we're going to do the rest for later.
There's one more question I want to ask. I forgot about it. I skipped it when we did the Let's Talk segment. It's just some funny shit I want to ask the ladies. It says, ladies, your husband and father are arguing. Your husband goes get in his car and your father says, sit down. What's your next move?
Shit.
Where we going?
You don't know what to do.
Who you listen to, your daddy or your husband?
My mama.
Oh, they're telling us? They're telling us to do that? Oh, I thought you were talking about, he said the husband sit down.
It says your husband and father are arguing. Your husband goes get in his car and your father says sit down. What's your next move? Are you going to the car with your husband or are you sitting down?
I'm getting Uber and going home myself. Neither.
No, I'm going to go talk to my spouse first because at the end of the day, that's my family unit. I have to live with this man. I don't live with my daddy no more. I got to make sure that my relationship is taken care of because that's my number one relationship now.
I've seen stuff like that too where people ask like on social media, like, what's the order? What do you guys think? Is it like husband, father, kids? What is it? Kids first?
It shouldn't
father?
be. They all have different. Family, then you support each other. You don't have to. You should never pick your husband over your dad or your dad over your husband.
Okay, how about this? Okay.
You have to maintain
Hold up.
Kids is at the top if you really be honest.
All right, let's go over the
That is true.
Anybody.
That is true, but there is a hierarchy, and here's why. Because so think about your parents. Like, there's two of them. They may not be in your life, but you have two of them, right? So, even with anything with your parents, like your relationship with them was different, but you have one spouse. So it's the only person on this planet that you got to every decision you make affects each other. Like, once you're not living with your parents, like, it doesn't matter if they go spend all their money at the bar one night or whatever. Like, they don't got to pay for you to eat the next day or go to school. So it doesn't matter. So with your spouse, and you sign on that dotted line with them, not with your parents. So,
Glory and Win come before, and I've said it to her before too. Glory and Win come before Jenny. That woman gave birth to me, but this woman married me. So she's above my mother.
Right.
To me, I see it differently. Like, I don't think that I should ever be put in a position where I have to pick someone. Like, my parents raised me, and I fell in love with you and married you, and I'm having a life with you, but I don't think I should ever have to choose, ever.
Well,
and if either one loved me, they would never, ever put me in a position where I ever have to choose.
But there's no choice.
It's not a choice. It's how you handle your stuff. Is what I'm saying. It's more so. It's not. I'm choosing my because he's gonna love his mother endlessly, but the love he has for his mother is different for the love that he has for me. So you need to take care of your household because that's what you live with every single day. When you let other people come into your household and dictate what you're gonna do, you start having problems, and then they're gonna have to pay for a divorce.
No.
So you gotta handle your unit, and then you handle the exterior. I'm number one on respecting your elders. My daddy gets old. If I ever have to clean his house, I will do that, and he will do the same with his mother. And I've told him that I will do it for his mother too. But you gotta take care of your unit to then functionalize outward. You know what I'm saying?
Parents operate from biased standpoints anytime, so you gotta really take a lot of the things that they do or say with a grain of salt. So if your husband and your father are arguing, you have to think, what are they arguing about?
Right.
Why do we gotta leave? Right. You know, it's like, why can't we sit down and
y'all
work
got
out,
technical.
You know?
Okay, if your husband was in the hospital, your father was in the hospital, the kid was in the hospital, who you going to first?
The kid.
That y'all just answer the question then.
Exactly.
That's the same thing.
But that's the most helpless person in that situation.
Exactly.
They adults, they can talk for themselves.
Stupid bitch.
You definitely gotta take care of home first though, because that now becomes your main priority and responsibility. Yeah. I mean, it's like even when you are about to get together and like married or whatever, it's always the exterior of your parents saying something.
Yeah, but will I let my husband disrespect my father?
Like, this is our relationship, so.
All right, yo, that's everything, man. That is everything. So we gonna close out. Like we said, for the Q&A segment going forward, you're gonna send those questions to askinsensitivepod@gmail.com. No I in insensitive. I truly, me and Brandon, we both really appreciate everybody coming, man.
Yeah, we both appreciate it.
This was a good one. There's a lot of good conversation we had today. Like this video on YouTube when it drops. Audio drops every Tuesday on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. Video will drop on YouTube every Wednesday. Like and subscribe. Give everybody a follow. I'll ask everybody who wants their social medias put in the description tabs. Episode 24 is next week. What else was I going to say?
23 strong.
Yeah, 23 strong, man. This is the Jordan episode, like I said.
So what episode with no sports?
Right, I know, right? Damn. I gave that shout out segment.
We talking about Matt Ryan.
That's because Chris is talking about
Matt. But again, appreciate everybody coming, man. For real, man. We really appreciate that. This is the Insensitive Podcast, everybody. Like I said, episode 24 is next week. I am P. That's Brandon. That's everybody else. I don't even think I introduced you in the beginning, baby. Did I say Trixie? I'm sorry. I did. Okay. I just wanted. I definitely had to make sure I did that. My bad. But yeah, that's the Insensitive Podcast. Appreciate everybody. What happened?
None.
Oh yeah, I see. Hey, we appreciate everybody for real. Thank you for watching. Everybody that's watching our video, supporting us, man. Stay motivated, stay inspired. We appreciate everybody. It's the Insensitive Podcast. Till next week, y'all.
All right.